Hello everybody, this is another video on what I would call a male issue. And by that I mean people with penises. But as with all my videos and what I say about all sex education, it's useful for everybody to know about these things. Today we're going to talk about erectile dysfunction. It's something, of course, which is very common in people with penises, but isn't talked about. What a surprise! So in this video we're going to talk about what it is, how it comes about, how you can get treatment for it, and who it affects. And it's not just people with penises. But just before we do, I'd like to say my name is Andy. This is my YouTube channel. We talk about sex education on this channel, so stick around, you'll learn loads. So the first question is fairly obviously, what is erectile dysfunction? Simply, it is an inability for somebody with a penis to get an erection or maintain an erection for long enough to have sexual activity. So yes, that could be any type of sex requiring the penis, but it also could be masturbation or pretty much anything else which requires an erection. I don't know, maybe you're playing hoopla with an erect penis. Possible. The point is, if you can't do that, then you might have some sort of erectile dysfunction. So to know when it's a problem, we need to know how you get an erection in the first place. Well, there are three main reasons why you would get an erection. Some sort of audio visual stimulus. So yes, you can get erections just by thinking things, which is all, even though it's not really going in your ear. You are thinking things, you're being told things in your ear, or it could be visual stimulation, you know, you see something you like, or somebody you like. You're aroused that way. It is separate to sexual desire. You can have sexual desire without the arousal, or you could not have the desire but still have the arousal. You can be asexual and still get erections. Another stimulus might be touch. So the obvious one is if you were masturbating. So, you know, rubbing on the penis, usually you would expect at least cause an erection. And the third is during REM sleep, i.e. when you are dreaming. It is very common for people with penises to get erections at night. They're called nocturnal erections. Usually a diagnosis of ED means you can't get an erection in any of those situations. But there are definitely times when, say, you can only get a nocturnal erection and never any other time. That may also need treatment. It just changes the type of treatment that you need. The point is, if you can get an erection at night, you definitely don't have an actual biological problem. It's probably more a psychological one. And I'm going to go through the causes in a couple of moments. But first, who can this affect? Well, obviously, people with penises are the people who are directly affected by erectile dysfunction. It is common in people over 40. Over half of people with penises over 40 have suffered with erectile dysfunction at some point. But it's also common in people under 40. Around 20% of people under 40 have experienced erectile dysfunction at some point. But the other people that it can affect are the partners of those people. They can feel like they are not sexually desirable because their partner, you know, can't get an erection. Is it because of them? It can lead to body confidence issues. It can lead to compatibility issues. And sometimes it can lead to breakdowns in relationships if it's not gone treated. Now, erectile dysfunction can have many, many causes, and this isn't even a complete list. So, you know, you should talk to your doctor if you have any concerns, but see, these are some of the causes of erectile dysfunction. There are medical reasons, so things like diabetes. High blood pressure is also a cause of erectile dysfunction. You could have recently had a medical procedure, so you've been on some drugs in hospital or something like that. That's caused you not be able to get an erection, or potentially you've had surgery recently. That's a common reason. You know, your body is still recovering, and one of the things it doesn't need to do during that time is give you erections. So it's conserving its energy, and when it's recovered, then you probably get your erections back. There are some more temporary reasons why you would have erectile dysfunction. Drugs is one of them, and not just illegal drugs. So coffee is a high reason why you would have erectile dysfunction, because it's diuretic. Diuretics cause differences in how water moves around the body. You often lose more water, depending on how much coffee you're drinking. Even though it's got water in it, it can be a diuretic, can dehydrate you. Your dehydration is a cause of erectile dysfunction, temporarily. Alcohol is another one. There is the dehydration factor, but also you can change your mood with alcohol. We've all heard of drunk man's droop, right? That's all it is. It's a temporary reason, either through dehydration or through loss of mood, which means that you don't get an erection. Obviously, if you're somebody who has problems with these substances, then you need to get medical advice. Yes, you might have erectile dysfunction, but if that is the cause of your erectile dysfunction, then that is what you need to get treatment for. Again, talk to your doctor. There are also mental health reasons, psychological reasons why you might have erectile dysfunction. They include stress, anxiety, depression, self-worth, or even just happiness in general. If you are not happy with your life, not necessarily have got depression or anxiety, but if you're just not happy with your life at the moment, and it just might affect your erections. But the problem with these causes is that the lack of erections, the lack of performance, sexual performance, might perpetuate that cycle. So it is not only a cause, it is also a symptom. So it can lead to a kind of downward spiral. It's what I would call as a positive feedback loop, although not very positive in this particular case. The more depression and anxiety that you feel, the more likely that you're going to have erectile dysfunction, which might cause more depression and anxiety, for example. And the final reason is disputed. It's called porn-induced erectile dysfunction. The theory is that overstimulation causes you to require a higher bar to get aroused, and it is argued that one of the reasons for that is watching more and more extreme porn. It is disputed because so many people watch porn. Over half of people admit, as it were, to watching internet porn. A large proportion of them being men and people with penises. But because of the number of things that can cause erectile dysfunction and the amount of people that watch internet porn, there is of course a correlation, but there's no proof of causation. There are definitely some people who get addicted to porn, and one of the symptoms of that could be, because it's psychological, erectile dysfunction. I don't know either way, I'm not a psychiatrist or a doctor, but there is a possibility that if you have porn addiction, and very few people do, by the way, a lot fewer than might say that they do, it could be a reason why you have ED. So I hope that makes some sense, and you can see that it's actually really common, and considering nobody really talks about it, it's not something which you would ever talk to your mates about down the pub. In many ways, society links sexual performance for men or people with penises to getting an erection and lasting for long enough. So you can see why people don't talk about it. Here's the good news. There are treatments. Now, before you try any of these treatments, because some of them you can buy on the internet, right? Before you try any of these treatments, talk to your doctor. They are the best person to advise you. They can send you on to specialists and things like that. And not every single treatment will be best for everybody. So bear that in mind. So the first treatment, almost everybody will have heard of. They are PDE5 inhibitors. They're pills, basically. Things like Viagra. Now, Viagra doesn't make you hard, okay? Viagra allows you to get hard if you are sexually aroused. It requires stimulation to work. There are other types available, not just Viagra. Viagra is a brand name, and it's one of 3 or 4 different types. So there are other ones which you may use, but they all basically do the same things. They inhibit PDE5, which is basically something which regulates sexual arousal. That's the long and short of it. So okay, you've heard of that, but it may be not for you, especially if you haven't got a medical reason why you can't get an erection. It might be a psychological one, in which case it probably won't actually help you very much. But it doesn't even solve all medical reasons. So there are a few other things which will help you with erections. One is a penile implant. It is something which is surgically put into your penis, which you are able to either mechanically or otherwise inflate to raise and lower your penis. It is as simple as that. Kind of the last resort because it is surgery, but it's something which, you know, could solve the problem for you. There's also intraurethral suppositories. That's a hard word to say. Intraurethral suppositories. And they are basically a little insert which goes into your urethra, into the tip of the hole of the penis there. You can also activate that and it maintains your erection basically. Those are best for people who can get it up but it doesn't last for very long. You know, you've got problems maybe with the blood flowing straight out again, the valve doesn't shut, all those kind of things. Another treatment is a self-injection, which you put in before sexual activity, which basically interacts with the muscles and the blood vessels to maintain an erection for a certain amount of time. Again, talk to your doctor about these. But the final one, and the one which will work if you have mental health problems, is psychological treatment. In many ways, that is bigger than erectile dysfunction. You know, erectile dysfunction is just a symptom, but it doesn't mean that you should be embarrassed to mention that as a symptom. You know, during the last year, we've obviously talked a lot about mental health. So it's possible that over the last year, you might have been having problems getting erections. Maybe you don't feel as much desire as you used to. Maybe you don't have the stimulation that you used to. The reasons are wide and varied and, you know, far too many to cover in a 15-minute YouTube video. But it's imperative that you get the support and help that you need. I've said it, of course, a few times in this video. I'll say it again. Talk to your doctor. They can help. And while you're at it, talk to your partner. They may be feeling these things, which I said before, including, you know, not feeling desirable because of your erectile dysfunction. It's not their fault. And you can say it's not their fault. It's not your fault. It's a perfectly normal thing to happen. It happens to many people with penises. It's just a medical problem a lot of the time, a psychological or medical problem, and it can be treated. That is the main thing. It can be treated. So go and get help. If you found this video useful, then please do give it a thumbs up. You can do that just down below the video, and leave a comment down below if you've got any questions or if you've got any experiences that you want to share with me. I do sex education videos regularly on this channel, so subscribe and click the little bell icon so you're notified when I next upload. Thanks for watching, and hopefully that means I will see you next time. Bye-bye.